Hey, how's it going? It's Neil Parfit here. Welcome to video number 19 of getting started with the ER301 sound computer. I'm sure, as you guys know by now, I like finding workarounds to certain things within the system, and I thought I'd share another one with you guys today. Let's talk about the sample looper. That's what will be about. Versus a sample player. A sample player, you load up a WAV file, and it could be a drum hit, it could be like a long thing. Whereas the looper is something you record on the fly in real time, sort of like a pedal. But if we go into this, you have to assign a buffer. You have to create a buffer to a certain length. Let's say it's, 50 seconds. And then what happens is this looper will constantly cycle for 50 seconds and record. And if you can remember from a few videos ago, I came up with a sort of a pseudo multi-track system with a pre-prepared file of a certain length to create something I could play to. The only thing with that is the looper is that fixed length. So for like an on-the-fly kind of performance kind of thing, it's tricky because you'd have to pre-prepare all your files or somehow find a way to synchronize the reset properly over a certain amount of time with like an external clock unit. But again, on the fly, that's still kind of tricky. So what I wanted to be able to do is come up with a dynamic way to ping this reset just on the fly in a musical way. So it's as easy as possible to record in a performance of any length up to that 50 seconds or whatever and have it loop right then and there. Obviously, in most cases, it probably wouldn't be that long. It might be a 4 or an 8 or a 16 measure kind of thing. But as I was just saying, I just want to be able to musically adjust this reset and record on the fly with minimal amount of fuss. So let me show you how I've come up with that, with a workaround, as there currently isn't a pedal style looper unit yet. I think there will be one, but I just wanted to come up with something now. So let me show you what I'm up to. On our track 1, I have a looper here, and this one has a buffer of about 25 seconds. And if we look, our reset signal, let's take a look. Actually, let me show you this. So our punch signal is D2, which is assigned to this right lowermost pad. So if I touch that pad, it's going to punch into recording. And my reset signal is also that exact same source. So if I touch that pad, it will also reset the looper, but I've added a 6 millisecond delay to that reset signal. So what that means is it will allow us to record for a split second, or 6 milliseconds, before it resets and the looper goes back to the beginning. And what I've done is our input source for this looper is a sine wave unit, and it has a 1K tone. And if we go into the VCA of it, we have an ADSR with a 2 millisecond decay. So basically it's going to create like a little boop. And that ADSR is also triggered by that button. So basically, when I hit this button, 3 things are going to happen. Let's just look in here. As soon as I hit this, it's kicked into record. And as soon as I release, it's going to wait 6 milliseconds to reset, but in that moment, it will also fire that little blip. So as soon as I touch it, it's dropped in that little blip into our looper. Let's just wait for it to show up. Come on. I should have zoomed in a bit more. There it is. And then it resets right back to the beginning. So if I did this really quickly, so 1, might not reset. There it is. So that's a little beep. Not too useful by itself, but if you can remember, we can digitally route a track output to any source on any other track. So that little blip could actually feed a completely separate looper's reset. And what that means is we can create a musical amount of recording at any length I want based on a record and then kick out a record kind of scenario. So what that means is If I hit this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we have a perfectly looped looper at that exact amount of time I wanted. I didn't have to go in and set anything. It's just an on-the-fly recording, sort of like dynamically created. It could be really quick like that, or it could be longer. It doesn't really matter. But let me show you. So I've basically created 3 loopers in mixers. And the cool thing about this the soft wire switch is I've actually wired the toggle output of the lower buttons to the upper buttons. So even though the upper buttons aren't doing anything, the light changes, which is essentially a record light for each one of my loopers. So if I go to channel 2, and let's take a look at our punch light. If I hit this, punch is on, red light's on. So it's sort of like a traditional little recording console, or like an ATR, sorry, which is great because all that means is I don't actually have to be in view of those loopers to know I'm recording on them. So I have my little 3-track recorder right here. And each one of these loopers is being fed just a really simple monosynth from output number 3. And of course, that could be anything. It could be an external source. It could be a microphone. It could be like drum sounds, whatever. But in my case, I just have just this cheesy little monosynth running. So let's record something. And this could be any length, right? It could just be like... right? Or it could be like... oops, sorry, let me do that again. So it's really quick and for on the fly adjustments of your loop length. So let's try something here. So there's my first track. This will be my second track. Okay. And then we could go to our track 3. Okay. Oh, my time was bad. And I've also created another pass-through mixer here. That's not recording anything, but I can basically solo on top of this loop now. So... that's actually the main theme from Dr. Mario. But just to give you another idea, like our first recording video from before, it was an exact fixed length, but now it can be any length I want. It could be 2 seconds based on that little recording I made. It could be that long. Doesn't really matter. And that's what makes it so fun, because it's very flexible. So let's... Oh, I didn't wipe out my previous stuff. Let's just put these in record for a second. And I didn't even get into the layering potential with this. So far, we've been on 100% dub of each one of these loopers, but I could essentially layer a whole bunch of stuff onto one track. And if I had external CV control, you could like use a joystick, whatever. Let's try this. So I've wiped over all my tracks now, and let me just create some sort of, I don't know, just some sort of initial part. I'm just going to mute my pass through. So we'll have this in record, which is our first looper right here. And what can I do? Let's go... So there's my first loop, right? And let's set the dub to 50%, like 0.5. Okay, so if I kick into record now, we're still on the exact same audio file. It's just going to overlay this at exactly 50% balance. So that's still on my track 1, all this stuff. So let's okay, so I'll do that. So this is all on one track still. So now I could go to track 2. I think this is probably the cheesiest thing I've ever done. And then on track 3, let's see, we can do... Okay. And then on my pass-through, I could totally play over this. Okay, that's probably officially the most annoying thing I've ever done. But you can see the potential for this because we're not stuck at that a fixed amount of time or a fixed length of these loopers. I'm sort of dynamically changing the time on the fly to whatever I want based on this initial looper recording of that little pulse. So it could literally just be that fast, and then that's how fast all these loopers will trigger. So I thought it was sort of a cool sort of workaround, and a lot of potential for this, especially if you're layering vocal sort of hums or pads, a whole bunch of textural kind of things you could manipulate. And it could get even more interesting if that looper's dub is being controlled by an ever-moving CV source, like a sine wave or like an external CV recorder or something like that. But anyway, just some more ideas to fuel the fire of having fun on this module. So hopefully you find that of use, and see you later. Bye.